Hi, I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
This is Two Guys, One Car.
Welcome to our car.
Dude, it starts with Two Guys, One Car. That's the name. It should start
It's
with
welcome
the
to our car.
name. No, but it has to start with Two Guys, One Car because that's the name of the thing.
Just get in the back seat.
Alrighty, we're
Right
back
along with
again.
us.
2G1C. Just the two of us again this time. No guest. But what we're going to talk about today is, I think the word we're going to use for...
That's funny because no guest and we're talking about minimalism.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So what we're going to talk about today is we'll word it as minimalism, I think. And we're going to go into like different ways we sort of see it. But we've just called it minimalism. But basically in terms of living with less and what that sort of does for us as humans, not having too much going on. But Josh actually approached me with this topic, and I find that really interesting because he's so messy. No, I'm just kidding. You're not messy at all.
No, I think what kind of made me think of why it would be a good topic to explore is because whilst you're not, I don't know what the definition of minimalist is, but when you watch the documentary on Netflix, I think it's called The Minimalist.
Yeah.
They're like extreme minimalists, and you're definitely not that,
No.
but you're, I don't know what you'd call it, almost like a midway point where it's not everyone's going to go to the extremity of, only owning like a laptop, a book, and like two pairs of clothes kind of thing. You're sort of that midway point where you're just very neat and ordered, and most things you have serve a purpose and serve order. And yes, you have things that you don't use and don't need,
100%.
but for the most part, everything you have it's pretty well neat and tidy.
Yeah, I think you do give me a lot of credit for that, but I do have a lot of stuff that I don't use, and I could sort of cull down, but I think what it comes down to is almost just starting to, and I feel like being more minimal, I feel like minimal in itself, like the idea of the word minimal, it just means less. So having less, what I take from trying to be more minimal is I find every time I try to be more minimal, I become more structured and it tunnels my vision, if that makes sense. We've mentioned it hundreds of times, but I've recently been trying to move around my room and stuff. But basically what that's done is make me way more tunnel vision. I start to, the ruckus, the noise, the ruckus outside, it just quietens and it just becomes, I have X, Y, Z, go from there. And I think that's the benefit that it has for me, definitely. And I know you've done the same in terms of your space. You kind of have less going on.
Yeah, for sure. My issue is I own a lot of things for things that I do, a lot of hobbies, like, I don't know, I have all my climbing gear, I have all my
Spearing stuff,
my bike packing gear, my hiking gear. I just have a lot of items, and yes, granted, I haven't used a lot of it in a while, but I still do enjoy doing those things and do want to do those things and plan to, so I'm not going to get rid of it. And it's gear that will pretty much last like a very long time, so I don't need to replace it or anything.
But that's what I was getting into. It's very purposeful.
But it's still chaotic. At least the way I have it set up in my room, it's quite chaotic. But that's behind a cupboard, and when the cupboard's closed, my room is quite bare at the moment. There's like a table, a desk, couple things on my desk, couple things on my bedside table, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And again, the idea behind this is that you can remove the noise. I think a lot of people's rooms, I used to have tapestries up in my rooms and all this just wild things, like this, all this noise around, and it was cool, it was stimulating, and I liked looking at it and just thinking. But now that I know where I'm going, or I know where I want to be going, I'm staying in my lane. I don't want these distractions to pull me away from focusing on what it is that I want to be focusing on.
For sure. And sometimes we can get cursed with almost having too much, not ambition, but for lack of a better term, ambition. I was talking to Pat about this, how we get, if you're curious and you're ambitious, you start doing a lot of stuff and then you don't do a lot of stuff well, if that makes sense, because you're doing too much. So yeah, even I'm probably similar to you in terms of, I've definitely gone to the point where I've found that lane that I want to be in, and then I've cut everything else out, which it's so weird. It takes so much time. I literally just threw gave to Salvos all these clothes that I was getting rid of and stuff like that, and it took me like months to just clear space out and to be like, okay, this is what I actually need in terms of that. But you mentioned pre to this, it's very 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 liberating, because you do feel like a weight off you and you feel like you have less responsibility and less it's almost like less thoughts enter your mind. and then take you off. Because sometimes I would think about something that I've seen, and then it puts me on a different thought. And then I start thinking about that, and then I start acting on that. But it's like, oh, well, hold on. Now I need to go back to my main course. I'm taking all these side streets.
Yeah, it's just less baggage and generally the things that we need to clean, we've had sitting in our room for months and months and months, and we're like, oh, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to clean all this stuff out, but we never end up doing it. But we get that constant reminder every time we open our wardrobe, or there's more thought when I have 10 shirts that I have to choose from versus when I do the cull, I only have 3 t-shirts now that I choose from. So
Definitely.
It's, again, just trying to stop cutting corners, just do the work, and it's going to save you so much more time in the future.
Well, and you said, like just then, there's lots of baggage that you're carrying, and that's physical and non-physical too. You're taking that mental baggage
100%.
as well. And this also, we started off in terms of talking about like a room, but it definitely speaks to all aspects of life. So whether it speaks to work, whether it speaks to your relationships with people, it's like having minimal, it's almost like minimal yet purposeful, because it creates that purposefulness. And we were talking about that the other day in a pod about like having like just a smaller group of friends, but really they're real strong friends, and I feel like that is more important to me personally. Like the way I would see it is that's way more important than having a lot of friends and a lot of notoriety, because this is going to be so much more impactful. They'll know you better, and it's just more purposeful with your time.
And I think it really depends what you want. Like with what you and Pat were talking about, doing a lot of things, how you can't do them all like really well, but if you hone in on a couple, you can do them really well. In terms of activities, I personally find I love just having so many things going on.
Yep.
And I know, and I'm talking more about like sports and hobbies in that sense. I know I'm never going to be like really world class at any of them because I just love doing so many things. Maybe I'll find something that I really want to hone in on, but for the past like 4 or 5 years of my life, I've loved just doing like all these different sports because I just find it so much more enjoyable doing different things with different people and getting out and doing it versus like really trying to focus in on just being as good as I can possibly be. Because for me, that's not why I do it. I do it because I just really enjoy doing it. And I think with the friendship and relationship thing, it's super important to have core people. It's super important to have people you can go to 24/7. Like, I think we should all have a list of people in our minds that if you get asked the question of who are you going to when you need to talk to someone, we should all have multiple people pop up. Maybe it's 1 or 2, but we should have people coming to our minds straight away because they're our core people. They're our people that are our backbone, and we should know who those people are, and we should have them in our life. I think a lot of people do lack that because, as you said, they are just friends with so many people. They're so focused on being popular. They're so focused on, how many followers they're going to have on Instagram and social media. But it's about the core. It's about how strong is it? How deep does that foundation go?
Yeah. And like, it's so hard, like not getting rid of friends, but spending less time with people you've spent a lot of time with, like traditionally with. That's really hard. And we talked about that before, but I think it's just a necessary thing sometimes. Like people go different paths, and that's just how it works. You can't just be, you say it all the time, you can't just be friends with people just because you're friends with people. Like
just because they're familiar.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that you could possibly do. Be friends with them because you want to be friends with them. Talk to them because you want to talk to them. You want to share your life with them. Don't do it because they're comfortable. And when I guess you look at the other side of, I guess, minimalist and sort of reducing stuff, not the other side, but like the physical side, whether it's your room, whether it's your car, just the more noise, as you said, that you can eliminate, the more like clarity it brings you. Because if you get in a car that has like, fast food rubbish in the door pocket, like coffee cups in the center console, like all this rubbish everywhere, you get in, I think we all share the same thought of, oh, I need to throw that out. That's rubbish. That's what am I doing? And then I stop thinking about it and I start driving and I work around it. But it's still a thought. There's still those, I don't know,
the
5
fact
or
that
so
you've
seconds.
spent time thinking about that. I know it sounds so tedious, but it's true. Like, and we probably lose track of how many of those thoughts we have a day, and yeah, removing that, it's just so liberating is the exact word. You just feel so liberated when you don't have anything to think about, but the main task you're doing.
And it is so nice. I cleaned my car during the week and it had been quite messy for a while in terms of I hadn't vacuumed it in a long time. And it was relatively clean. I didn't have much rubbish in there, but it was just very dirty inside. Vacuumed it, organized it, and when I got in it the next time, I smiled. I actually smiled. I was
fresh.
like, oh, this is so nice.
Yeah. Something about it, hey, like
so nice.
fresh car, clean car, room clean, house clean. Like, especially if you live like in an apartment by yourself or whatever. It's just like, I could not imagine not having that clean, like the feeling you would have of just walking into that after a rough day or a big day or whatnot, where you need to come into your space just to feel like, you know, relaxed and settle down and wind down when you've got all this stuff you're worrying about, you know.
100%. There's and with the practical side of how do you create that environment in the documentary, I don't know if it's the minimalist, but there's this lady, Marie Kondo, and she says, like, if it hasn't brought you joy in the past like 6 months or whatever, like, get rid of it.
Interesting.
And it's a beautiful question because you can ask it to every piece of item that you have in your life, and has it brought you joy? And what I did when I sort of went through my room was, have I used this? Have I actually used this item in the past 6 months? And granted, there were some things I hadn't used, but I knew I was going to use them in terms of like sporting equipment.
I was going to say like really specific stuff, like expensive gear that it's like you don't use
that often, but it's you can figure it out. It's like clothing pieces. Have I used this? And there were so many things I was holding on to. I had this t-shirt that when I was in hospital when I was 10 years old, these ladies came around and like to all the kids in the ward and found out what you liked, what your hobbies were, and then got a print of that on a t-shirt for you. So I got the Manly Seagulls logo on a t-shirt printed. Never wore the t-shirt once because I didn't like the way it looked on me. And I always kept it though in my cupboard because it was such a beautiful memory of growing point in my life. And I still had it until like last year or recently. Wow. And I remember looking at it because anytime I looked at it, that was always the thought of, oh no, I told myself I like this shirt, so I'm going to keep it here.
Yeah.
But then when I looked at it...
And then sorry to butt in, but like as time accumulates, it becomes more valuable because you've told yourself that more than once. So you've told it like 3 or 4 times, like, well, I kept it before and like, I really like it.
And now it's 10 years old, I have to keep it now. But when I just got rid of that mindset and was like, have I used this? It doesn't even fit me anymore. No, I don't need this. It's just a waste of space, a waste of my time. So I just got rid of it.
100%.
There's so many things. It's amazing how, because it's the classic thing. We all do this like, oh, spring clean. We're going to clean our room, clean our life up. And you go through and there's levels to which you do it. And that was the most I'd ever gone to. I culled everything.
Yeah, your room's so different.
There is basically nothing that I have now where, and again, I can't say nothing because there's always things, but pretty much everything I have in my room now is, I use it. Yeah. It has a purpose.
Yeah, and I think it's like, for me, it'll be like just keeping it clean. Like, you can clean your room. Like, I'll know certain people that they'll clean their room, but like every like week or 2 weeks, like, yes, you have structure, yes, you have routine, but it's like that room gets messy in 2 days. So then it's like, then it stays messy for that amount of time. So you're almost just surrendering to the fact that I'm happy to have it clean for 2 days, messy for 5. So it's like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, just clean as you go. Like,
CAYG, Macca's.
Yeah, Macca's, CAYG, definitely. And yeah, just if you have washing, just hang it up, fold it. It can literally take you 2 minutes. Just do it.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of doing it, making that transition to, I'll leave it for later, I'll do it now.
Think about how dumb that task is though. Let's be real. Like, there's no sympathy for not doing that. It's a really stupid task, like hanging up clothes.
It's just easy.
Put the clothes, and then because it's easy,
it's
you
not
say,
dumb, like it's purposeful.
Yeah, but it's just, I'm just saying,
an easy task.
Yeah, it's
easy.
It's dumb to say I'll do that later in my head.
Oh yeah.
I think that's just because I've done it for so long. Yeah, it's just silly because it's not even. There's no argument to procrastinate that. It doesn't take long. It's not even a difficult task. Do you know what I mean? Like the 2 metrics you use to procrastinate.
But the justification we do is I don't want to. Like that's how we all justify it.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's like, but we all fall victim to that.
Oh yeah, in different regards. But I'm just saying because I'm definitely not like that. So
yeah, like the rubbish and stuff.
True, and also what I was about to say is like you walked into my room the other day, complete mess.
Oh yeah.
Because it never, and that's what I'm getting to, is like it never looks 100%, but just clean as you go. And when you don't, be like, I need to clean that, you know, and call each other out. Like you could just call me out.
No, fully.
Wait, what for? Rubbish.
No, yeah, because like you were saying that you don't do that, but then your dad multiple times like take the rubbish out, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that,
I'll
yeah,
do it,
yeah,
I'll do it.
yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
like we all
That's
fall
true.
victim to
And
that.
that
We all
takes-
do it.
That takes probably.
It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
2 minutes, if that. Doing the dishwasher, a task I hate doing, yet if I actually knuckle down and do it, I can get it done
Funny.
within 120 seconds.
Doing the dishwasher.
And that's why I'm very good now at doing it. And one of our friends, one of his mates, has told Will's mate, he said that he hasn't procrastinated in 8 years.
What the? That's hard to believe. I don't know this. Yeah, I'm open-minded, but my initial reaction is
He was not
bullshit.
open-minded. No, and what he said is he has a glass of water next to his bed every morning. Like when he wakes up, it's there, and the first thing he has to do is just drink it.
Eats.
He said start off with that win, and he just has momentum throughout the whole day, and he does not procrastinate
Sick.
because he can just get it done.
That's
And
awesome.
that's where I think maybe he doesn't want to drink the water every day, but there's power in just doing that one little thing that's easily achievable that you don't want to do, that is good for you every day. So recently I've been pretty average with it, but for at least over a year, every single day, I would wake up and scull
one of these,
1.2 liters of water. Whether consuming that much in that short of a time is good for me or not, I'm not really too fast.
In terms of like just sculling the water, but it's good for you.
All I
in the way
know
you're about to
is
say.
I'm dehydrated and I want to get water in me.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit hard. The last 200 mil is difficult for me. The first liter I can really get down fine, but the last 200 mil is a bit difficult, and that's why I do it, because that little bit of discomfort first thing in the morning, making myself do that is the best thing, and then I'm on a win.
You've learned that skill on a non-serious note. You've learned that skill of chugging, because you can chug like a monster. You can drink water so quickly.
Dude, no,
you just neck it
so much and so fast. That's my power.
I don't know how I've never done that as a habit. I feel like I drink lots of water anyway, but I should do that because it is a real kickstart. I like the glass of water idea, because when you see it, it's like you
need water.
Yeah, you need water, and it's perfect. It
It's
makes
there,
sense.
and it's also once you've done it, then exactly you set yourself up for success and for the wins
100%.
that are going to come from that point on. Because all it is those really quick responses. Walking out of your room and then seeing a bit of rubbish on the floor, or seeing that dirty piece of laundry that you forgot to hang up or forgot to put away or whatever, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that now, so you walk the other way. That split second decision, do you do it or do you not, changes everything.
And they're so hard to make, because you can never prep yourself for those like decisions.
Exactly. And
like I mean, like in the moment prep them. You can prep it over time, but in the moment you can never prep, because you see the thing, and like you said, it's split second. You make it. It's instinct. So you need to like train your instinct to make that decision.
100%.
Definitely. I was actually in a trance yesterday of doing that for about an hour. So there's all these things, like my TV was out that I'm trying to sell, like bits and pieces just everywhere. And I just did one thing and just carried the momentum, just like kept going. And I was like, bag up those clothes that I've had there, like freaking like rearrange something on that little pegboard I have, like move everything around.
And that's how it works. The momentum is real, and because you'll tell yourself, I'm just going to do this side of the wardrobe today. You do it and you're like, no, I want to keep going. You do that side, and then before you know it, you've done your whole room, your car, your work office, like everything in your life.
It was like in here, because I had a bunch of stuff in the boot, and I was like, I carried the momentum from my room to the car, like took all the washing out, went back up to my room, like had all this stuff from Sieges, like moved all that around.
And it feels so good. And the thing as well is we all know how good it feels to have a clean space and organized space. That once it's clean and walking into it feels so nice. And it always feels good until it's dirty.
Yes. But it actually doesn't get old.
It doesn't
That's a weird thing, because if I go on a real streak, like a month where like it's always clean, like no exceptions, it's always looking mint, that it doesn't get any worse. Like it always feels that good.
Definitely. And I think, again, it's about training your instincts, training your reactions to be getting it done, cleaning. And this is where you can start to implement like practical ways of doing it. Maybe it's like you set an alarm every day at, like, just say you go to bed at 8 o'clock, you set an alarm at 7:30 on your phone, and boom, that half an hour you're just in your room cleaning, or not even 5 minutes it will take you once it's like clean.
Yeah.
So you set that alarm at 7:55, going to bed at 8 p.m, boom, alarm goes off, get in your room, clean it, and you just day by day do that. It was like when I was working as a mechanic for a while, every single day, as soon as I'd finish work, I would clean my tools and put them all away where they belonged. And then as time went on, I would, maybe I finish super late one day, so I leave some tools out because I just want to go home. And then that translates to the next day, like I stop cleaning them and just leave them all out. And then it translates to the next day and the next day and the next week. Before you know it, my toolbox is just half over this whole workshop because I've been moving around bays and I'm just so lazy and I'm borrowing other people's tools when I have my tools across the workshop, but I'm just someone else's tools right here. So I'm using
creating inconvenience, and then it gets more annoying.
So it's just set that alarm, set that thing, and do it every day. Because again, it's everyone knows this, but when you start, once you've done it, once you've done the big cleanup, it's only small cleanups. That's less and less and less. It's less time, less effort.
You want to be doing like little bits and pieces towards it, not just like the big cleanup every 2 weeks, because then it defeats the purpose. Because your room is probably untidy for 10 out of the 14 days, you know. So it actually doesn't make sense to do that. It makes more sense to be CAYG, like we said, clean as you go. Yeah, and just keeping it nice and neat. But yeah, in terms of like, I've just thought of it now. So in terms of a challenge, basically what I would say to people is, I think like try and apply that minimalism mindset, to all aspects of your life. Like we were kind of touching on it, just like, even if it's not just your physical, like if it's your actual relationships or the tasks that you do for work, or try and create that structure and like see what you benefit from in terms of that. But I would say the best way to start is probably like physically. So we all have like some form of physical clutter somewhere, room, car, house, it's somewhere. There's that little closet, that little cabinet, like the dirty, like say it's in the kitchen, there's that one drawer that's got like just a bunch of stuff that's not organized. Like go and organize something that bothers you. And I'd say see what you take from that in terms of like that feeling you get. Definitely.
I like that. I've got another challenge as well. This cleanup, this organization and minimalistic mindset is going to be applied to your life and social media. Go through your followers, go through the people you're following and the people that you're constantly consuming in social media, and do a big cleanup of that. Actually go through your followers, and a lot of people struggle with this, but follow things and people that you want to be consuming. Follow content that you actually believe in. Maybe it's someone that you're aspiring to be like. Say, I don't know, you play basketball as a kid and like you follow Michael Jordan or you follow LeBron James because you want to be like them, so you follow their content. Don't follow people just because you went to school with them or just because you know them. I went through this probably like 2 years ago, I would say, where just unfollowed anyone that I didn't want to follow. And so many of those people were just people I went to school with.
I think in essence of like the word follow, like do you actually want to follow that person and what they're doing? Yes or no?
It's the consumption. Simple. Like what do you want to be eating on your dinner plate? Do you want to be eating a bunch of junk food and sugar, or do you want to be eating like good healthy meals, vegetables and meat that are going to serve and nourish you? Same thing with social media. Like what do you want to be consuming? So
definitely
go through your social medias and clean up who it is that you're following.
But dude, the same thing we've just been talking about like translates to that. It's the minimalism but purposeful. So it's like you doing that on your socials, like that creates your social media, that makes your social media way more purposeful because it becomes meaningful, right? Like there's meaning added through the stuff that you're going to follow. Like you're saying, follow people that you're aspiring to be like. And it may not even be in your field of work. It could just be someone who's dedicated and driven or something like that. And there's so many people out there like that. Or even it should be a good mix of people you know who are also like that, you know, like people you know who you sort of look up to, follow them too.
Because it's more obtainable that way. We often put these like really well accomplished people on pedestals and we're like, oh, we'll never get there. But when you can follow someone that, I don't know, one of your friends or someone that was a few years above you or whoever it is, and they're doing something really amazing and inspiring, it's like, oh, if they're doing it, I can definitely do it.
It's also really cool following people who are just like that one half step ahead of you, because you can see what sort of path you're going down as well and what you should be sort of expecting, whether that be in a job or, I don't know, just in terms of a relationship, anything. Like following that person who's half a step ahead is also quite beneficial too.
Yeah, it's great. So that's my challenge for everyone. Just go through your social media and be selective, be purposeful about what it is you're consuming. Don't just consume for the sake of consumption. Don't just follow out of obligation. Do it because you want to do it. So yeah, I think that was a good, I like that it was kind of a short conversation, this one. Keeps it quite purposeful and minimalistic.
I was about to say it's actually minimal. Definitely. But yeah, I love like that this always changes because you're moving different environments all the time. Your world changes all the time, but trying to be as minimal as possible in all aspects, like definitely is an ongoing thing.
Definitely.
So,
and
yeah.
I also want to, I guess, not put out like a disclaimer. I'm not saying that everyone should be a minimalist. We're not saying this at all.
Oh, by term minimalist, that's what I was trying to say before. It's not minimal as in like what people deem as like an extreme minimalist. It's trying to act in a more minimal way.
It's almost what we're trying to say, I think, is just tidy your life up. Tidy your life up. Don't consume things you don't want to. Don't own things you don't need to or want to. Just try to tidy your life up.
Definitely.
And that just falls under.
I'm just trying to think actually before we go, like what I'm going to do to be more minimal. Trying to think of how I might do it.
As in the challenge you challenged yourself?
Yeah, I think I might try and spend because I want to act this out too. I think like my room's relatively clean and this is too. I don't think I'd get much impact from that, but I think maybe I'll try and spend like a day. I'm going to lock out a day in the next couple of weeks before maybe we go on the drive and like have a minimal day. So a day where it's almost like I'm doing barely anything. So in terms of the actual tasks I do, it's like wake up, I go and do like one thing for the whole day, if that makes sense. And then it's night and I do another thing maybe and then go to sleep. And see what that does for me in terms of, because I feel like I could benefit from that form of minimalism. Because sometimes I'll do like a bunch of stuff during the day. Yes, it'd be purposeful and structured and productive, but there is still that clutter of being a lot of stuff. It is. So maybe for me, and like that's probably going to be by myself if I go and do that. So that would also benefit me.
Another thing I want to say with Instagram almost encourages you to not follow people that you're not interacting with. If you go on on who you're following, at the top there should be like the 50 least interacted with accounts that you follow. And I would constantly just go through there, scroll through. Maybe it's someone that just doesn't post or whatever, but I don't know, want to follow them, whatever it is. Yeah. But that's a really good way to start, because you just pretty much can unfollow almost like 50 out of 50 in that list, and then go back, refresh, it'll load the next 50. And it's a really great way to just organize your socials.
Sick. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so Instagram's good with that.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Hey. Yep. Yeah. Minimalism, that was a good one. Short and sweet, minimal.
Yeah. Love you all, and we will see you in the next one.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.